The boy is running at the start of the story, as he feels that nobody loves him. Because of this, he continues, he has low expectations for life. According to Kyoto, he is a useless, ugly, and impoverished individual who consistently lags behind in class. Nobody is more aware than he is that he is unlovable. A student named Kyoto is waiting for another opportunity to enroll in university after failing the annual admission exam. On his way back to his flat, Kyoto turns a corner and runs into a pretty female. He promptly apologizes, and he looks at her and notices that she is attractive. The girl grins at him and assures him that everything is fine while his face flushes bright red. Suddenly, Kyoto stops talking. He hurries into his apartment and closes the door, leaving the girl perplexed in that awkward silence. Kyoto is shocked by what he sees once he's inside. The girl is so adorable that he can't stop thinking about it and is certain she's his type. He begins to envision a relationship with her, seeing her as his girlfriend. But suddenly, certain that it was all a misunderstanding, he stops himself. He assumes there is no possibility for someone like him because she merely smiled at him. Even the fact that they ran into each other around the corner seems a little corny to him, but he ignores such feelings. He picks up his books and resolves to concentrate on his studies. He reminds himself that he has no time to be sidetracked by a girl. Meanwhile, the girl is standing outside his door, blushing as she glances at his door number. Kyoto wakes up the following morning and hears a tap on the door. He is shocked to see that it's the girl from yesterday. "Good morning," she says, carrying a pot. Kyoto pauses for a while to comprehend the situation. He only managed to say is, "From yesterday?" Telling him that she's from next door, she smiles. She introduces herself as Toyokoa Aika. Now that he's moved in, she says she brought something to welcome him. Kyoto is perspiring profusely. He admits that he didn't even notice and nervously questions if it's actually for him. Aika goes on to say that she moved in 6 months ago. Kyoto questions why she chose to visit at this time after hearing this. After all that time, he begins to suspect that something is wrong. The thought of such a gorgeous girl living next door suddenly sends Kyoto's mind reeling. Reminding himself that she is only his neighbor, he swiftly stops himself. No need for strange hallucinations. Aiko admits she cooked too much curry and asks Kyoto if he wants any, all while putting on a sweet face. He is in an uncomfortable situation. He used to dream of eating with a gorgeous neighbor, but now he finds it difficult to accept that a gorgeous woman would genuinely serve him food that she prepared. She must have made a lot, because he sees that she is carrying a large pot. He also wonders how strong her stomach must be and thinks it's strange that she made curry in the morning. Everything about Aika in this situation looks odd. He begins to suspect that something is amiss when she continues to smile at him. He even questions whether she added something strange to the curry or whether this has anything to do with religion. He's certain that there's more to this, and questions whether he ought to force her to leave. At last, Kyoto answers and begins to apologize, but before he can finish, Aika offers that they reheat the curry and share it. Her response surprises Kyoto. Then she asks abruptly whether she can enter. Kyoto agrees, forcing a smile, which brings Aika joy. Kyoto can't stop berating himself for letting such a cute girl in, as she hums as she enters his place. He believes that she likely views him as a simpleton and that he is being stupid. After glancing at her and realizing that she is already in his apartment, he decides he just has to have a little meal with her before sending her on her way. He can't resist examining her features more closely. Kyoto has a sudden epiphany and questions whether it's typical for a girl to go inside a man's home after only a brief encounter. He begins to think that Aika could like him, but then he suddenly recalls an instance in which a girl asked him out after confessing her feelings to him. As it happened, it was really a punishment game. He was told to get off his high horse, quit daydreaming, and return to reality by the girl, who laughed at him for thinking it was genuine. Considering all of the current events, Kyoto is certain that this cannot be genuine. He thinks there is no possibility that someone like Aika would be interested in him because of his past and his poor luck with women. He fears it's all a dream, so he doesn't want to relax and become too comfortable. Aika wonders whether she's bothering him after noticing his look. He tells her no right away. Aika serves the curry to them both on plates after it is finished heating up. She hands him one of the plates, which are heaped like a mountain. When Kyoto looks at her, she smiles, and he can't believe how much she's given him. The fact that she will consume the same quantity of food surprises him. He just awoke, and suddenly, as if it were a challenge, he is confronted with a massive plate of curry. He wonders if she's simply inherently an airhead and finds it odd that she's acting this way when it's still morning. He automatically agrees when she suggests they should eat, and he thanks her for the food. Although Kyoto thinks Aika is cute, he reminds himself of his own restrictions once more. They both begin eating quietly. Additionally, Kyoto feels extremely uneasy because the place is so silent. He searches for anything to discuss. He has never had dinner with a girl before, much less one who is practically a complete stranger. He is thinking that this isn't some manga and that something so convenient wouldn't occur in real life. Aika asks abruptly if the dinner is tasty. Nervous, Kyoto nods swiftly. He begins to relish the sensation of eating in front of a girl. He believes that most people will not get the opportunity to experience it. At that moment, however, his spoon slips out of his grasp and hits the ground. He's overly anxious. Even though Aika offers to pick it up, he insists on doing it himself. They both bend down in the chaos, falling against one another and staring into each other's eyes. Kyoto is blushing profusely. Aika starts smiling, glaring at him before reaching to put a hand on his arm. In a panic, Kyoto freaks out and gently pushes her in the direction of the door. After thanking her and stating that the curry was great, he promises to wash the pot and give it back to her later. Before shutting the door, he concludes their conversation for the day by adding that he has something to accomplish. What just transpired leaves Aika perplexed. Unable to believe he touched a girl, Kyoto inhales deeply while glancing down at his hands. Something you will never know. He felt her chest and was somehow quite close to her. Naturally, such a wonderful thing cannot possibly be genuine. He believes Aika is concealing something and reminds himself not to get the wrong idea. He's resolved not to fall for her, even if he has no idea what she has planned. He's not interested in being wooed. Aika, meantime, is still reflecting on what transpired as she stands outside his door. Finding Kyoto adorable and innocent, she compliments him and is pleasantly pleased by his muscularity. She believes that he is her ideal partner and that he has a nice body. Now more than ever, she wants to hold him. Without a doubt, she's up to no good. She wants to play with him. She wants him to fall in love with her right away because of this. At Nishishin Cram School, Kyoto is in class, intent on learning. A friend unexpectedly calls out to him after class to inquire if he's going to his part-time job. Kyoto gives a nod of agreement. The friend remarks on how difficult it must be to work a part-time job and live alone, particularly since he is now attempting to get into university. With a sigh, Kyoto takes out his phone and realizes it's time to go. He bids him farewell and heads straight to work. The place where Kyoto works is Aji Coffee Shop. He goes over to assist a girl who calls out during his shift and says she wants to place an order. As he tends to her, Kyoto finds himself reflecting on how provocative Aika was. He questions whether she was upset that he sent her home so soon. He assumes that if she is upset, they will simply communicate as neighbors and most likely not see each other very often. At that moment, however, Aika enters the coffee shop. He turns to see her smiling at him. There is an awkward silence after this. She continues to smile, giving him smile even more. Then Aika takes a seat close to the counter and looks at him. With hesitation, Kyoto informs her that there are further seats available. Kyoto begins to question whether Aika intentionally seated near to him. Aika calls him out after noticing his expression. He claims that his face is obviously questioning whether she came here on purpose. Kyoto tries to deny it, but he's nervous to say much more. "I just want to watch you work," she adds, staring at him. Kyoto is shocked by what he just heard after hearing those blunt comments. Confused, he tries to tell himself that he doesn't appreciate her attention or that his heart is racing. All he needs to do is relax and concentrate on his work. Then, Aika inquires about his well-being and whether he enjoys his job at the coffee shop. It's only a part-time employment, Kyoto informs her. Kyoto questions himself how he and Aika came to have this peculiar bond. It's unnerving to him. Furthermore, He wonders why she uses informal language with him, although he speaks to her in such a courteous manner. Then he inquires as to if this is her first time in a coffee shop. Aika gives a nod, claiming that because the location is close to her home, she was interested in it. She adds with a smile that she might visit more frequently now that she is aware he works here. Kyoto questions whether she is trying to trick him. Then, she asks for his name, stating that she doesn't recall him informing her. He introduces himself. She grins at him, and he ponders. Suddenly, Aika requests permission to call him Reiji-kun. Though clearly taken aback, he agrees. With a little flush, she addresses him as Reiji-kun. He says yes in response. He enjoys the unique sensation of floating when he hears her call him by name, but he won't let it deceive him. He reflects on the day she went to eat at the home of a man she didn't even know. He can't deny that he enjoys the way she's treating him, but he questions whether she's simply too reckless or an airhead. He is abruptly brought back to reality as Aika asks if he is okay. He gives her the menu in a hurry. She asks him to wait a minute, and he complies with her request. He is shocked when she begins to trace her finger over his hand. As she goes on, he remains motionless like a statue. Kyoto stammers, attempting to stop her, but Aika simply asks what's wrong while grinning at him. He answers clumsily, "No, that isn't the point." Then, referring to his hand, Aika remarks that his blood vessels are very noticeable. When Kyoto hears that, he quickly moves his hand away. He tries to figure out what she's doing, but he finds it challenging. He tries to tell himself that it isn't her that is causing his heart to race. He assures himself that her abrupt touch only shocked him. After that, Aika requests the check, and Kyoto agrees. As he prepares it, he makes an effort to relax and avoid feeling self-conscious. As she approaches, she whispers to him that she will return later to get the pot and the apron she left at his house. Then, she leaves the store, leaving Kyoto with a scarlet face. He is called to place an order by another customer at that very moment. At home, Kyoto lies in bed that night and ponders how he will eventually see her again, whether it's at his house or at the shop. He realizes he sounds like he's anticipating it and abruptly stops himself. He is concerned that all of this could divert him from his academic work. He's not going to allow that to occur. When Aika awakens the following morning, she stretches. Once she's ready, she needs to go shopping. She admires her clothing as she looks at herself in the mirror before leaving. She thinks of Kyoto as she walks by his house and licks her lips, muttering, "Looks delicious." Aika is strolling at the mall when she unexpectedly spots Kyoto. She calls his name as she creeps up behind him. After being taken by surprise, Kyoto turns around and sees her. She asks why he's so shocked, and he asks if it's indeed her. He questions how she knows where he is. She responds that it's quite typical because they share an apartment building. Awkwardly, Kyoto says he's going home and tries to leave. Aika holds his arm. She gives him a kind look and tells him to wait, adding that she wishes he could spend some time shopping with her. The reference to shopping close to a women's clothing store surprises Kyoto. She goes on to claim that she wanted a guy's opinions before purchasing a swimsuit. Kyoto is in a difficult situation. He objects as she drags him into the store, claiming that it isn't the appropriate setting for a man. Kyoto silently curses the other males in the store after Aika points them out. Aika shows him the dress she has chosen, but Kyoto tries to turn his head away. You shouldn't be anxious because it's not underpants, she assures him. However, Kyoto is powerless. He's still nervous. Aika appears pleased by his response and smiles. She tells him to wait while she changes, and he waits anxiously. She asks him what he thinks of her wearing the new attire. But Kyoto is looking in the opposite direction. He won't turn around when Aika tries to show him. He refuses to look even though she yells at him that she has already changed. Aika seems taken aback. Kyoto then declares that he will not examine her attire. He was totally unprepared for the entire thing. When Aika asks why, Kyoto responds that he feels like he'll lose if he looks. Aika tells him she doesn't understand after becoming perplexed by this. There was no point in bringing him along if he's not going to look, she continues. Kyoto reiterates that he will not look under any circumstances. Both of them stop talking. Aika continues by saying that the clothing is a bit tight and that she could show something if she moves in a particular way. Kyoto resists the need to turn and look when he hears that, but his head still tilts slightly. Then, to his amazement, Aika prods his cheek. She asks if he's uncomfortable and informs him that he finally turned to face her. Absolutely not, he says swiftly, adding that it's not difficult. Just looking at a girl's swimwear is easy. Grinning, Aika returns to the dressing room, mentioning that he should wait while she tries on other swimwear. She displays a wide variety of clothing to him. Kyoto is ultimately beaten because she tries on too many. Aiko observes and asks what's wrong. He responds that it was more than his lethal dosage. Aiko appears perplexed by his answer. As they exit the shop, Kyoto follows Aika, who is humming joyfully. Aiko wonders if he simply doesn't visit the beach and asks him if he doesn't intend to purchase swimwear while they stroll. I don't have a lot of free time, he replies. After he gets accepted to university, Aika asks if they may go to the beach together. After giving her a quick glance, Kyoto tells her he'll give it some thought. Back at school, Kyoto's friend inquires as to what's happening. Kyoto claims that he is unable to focus on anything since he is constantly thinking about swimsuits. His friend simply responds, "What?" in confusion.